Social media platforms are punishing and demonetizing channels for inauthentic content. And they're cracking down on everyone, whether you have a big channel that's been around for years or you've just launched a brand new account. So in this video, I'll reveal what could be putting your content and, more importantly, your brand at risk. My name's Henry Sims, and for the last 9 years, I've been behind the scenes of personal brands across 30 different industries. And what I see taking place right now, while it could be unsettling, is actually a massive opportunity for those looking to build authority. With many accounts experiencing the banning of videos or their channels being demonetized due to inauthentic content, it's important to understand what the heck is inauthentic content. And it can be a little bit vague in areas and not as explicit as it should be. So let's take a look at some of the blog releases and announcement from some of these platforms to get a better understanding of what inauthentic could be and if you're actually making that kind of content. So when it comes to YouTube, they had a policy in place that was named Repetitious Content. And basically they were looking at if people were to just be reposting and using someone else's content without their permission and not adding any creative flair of their own, then that was deemed repetitious content and went against their policy to be able to monetize that particular content. Then we've seen in July 15th here that they renamed this to inauthentic content. And so this is a thing that is taking place across multiple platforms. It's not just YouTube. What they're trying to fight against are the people that are creating multiple channels, posting the exact same piece of content across multiple channels to try and get more viewership. And then also there are clippers out there who are being paid to take content, distribute it in different ways across other platforms, trying to get more viewership for the same piece of content. And so YouTube and all these other platforms are trying to keep original content to the creator and make sure that their platforms aren't being saturated by a bunch of the same stuff just for the goal of gaining more views. And so if we scroll down a little bit on this page where YouTube's discussing their monetization policies, you can see here that when they're talking about what they look for and deem authentic, they want your content to be your own original creation. And even if you borrow other people's content, because there's a lot of reaction videos and other pieces of content where you can use other people's stuff and put your own flair on it, you have to do that. You have to add some of your own creative flair, your own unique take to something to deem it as original content. And then again, not be mass produced or repetitive, some of those tactics that other channels, other creators are using to try and get more views for the same piece of content. And even Adam Mazzari from Instagram put out a video talking about the exact same thing of repetitive content. And in this video, he talks about how there's multiple accounts out there that will repost videos and carousels and images from other creators to, again, maybe they're linked, maybe they're not, but get the same viewership, more distribution for the same piece of content without adding any unique flair to it. And what he stated here with Instagram is that they're going to stop recommending those accounts. And the only way you can see that content is if you're actually following it. So if you're trying to grow your audience, then this is going to mean that you're not going to go outside of your own audience with this repetitive content. So they're all trying to crack down on making sure that as a creator, as a channel, you're making original, unique content and that it's staying on your channel and being served via your channel. All of these other accounts where they're trying to just mass produce and repeat your same piece of content to get more views are being cracked down on, and they're trying to limit how much of that is out there saturating the feeds. Where other people are experiencing some confusion is around AI. And there's been the term AI slop going around, and it's because there's a lot of people who are taking AI and using it to just come up with content that isn't original of their own, blast it out there at scale, massive scale. And so this is low quality content that advertisers don't want their ads being placed onto, or because it's low quality, a lot of viewers aren't happy about seeing it. So one of the things that's a little bit vague and not super well defined is the use of AI within our content efforts. And YouTube, all these other platforms, they're looking at these AI generated pieces of content as a potential risk. So accounts that are using purely AI generated content with AI voiceovers, videos, avatars, all of those kinds of things, those are experiencing the most amounts of bans, getting flagged, experiencing demonetization of their channels. And you might be asking, how can these platforms tell that you even used AI generated content in the first place? And there's multiple efforts, not just by the platforms themselves, but the industry, the online space, trying to protect users against misleading AI generated content. So there are efforts to embed information into these pieces of content that allows these platforms to see that they are AI generated. So you might have already noticed that when you're online and looking at content, you might be getting these disclosures that you're looking at AI generated material or altered material. And so here on YouTube, they explain that what they're looking for is, yes, you can manually disclose that you used AI to generate something. But even if you don't and you try and skirt around it, there are things coming into play across all of these platforms, such as the content credentials C2PA. And this is basically embedding information into the content that you generate via some of these other AI platforms like YouTube. Read it and understand that this was AI generated. So even if you don't disclose it, you might notice that your videos have these made with AI elements to them, and YouTube is already seeing that. And if we come over to Meta, which is in control of Facebook, Instagram, Threads, they're doing the exact same thing. We can look here and see that here we do several things to make sure people know AI is involved, including invisible watermarks, and then also using the same metadata that I said about in the previous thing here, where they're using the C2PA information, and this is going to automatically be embedded into your content that is generated from the platforms like Google, OpenAI, Microsoft, Midjourney, a lot of the popular tools that we use to generate AI content. And then to drive my point home even further, this is TikTok announcing the exact same thing. And also a while ago, this isn't new information, but they said here that they're starting to automatically label AI generated content when it's uploaded from certain platforms. So to do this, they're partnering with the Coalition of Content Provenance and Authenticity, again, C2PA, to be able to identify AI generated content. So it's not just one single platform that is actively trying to identify and protect users from bad AI slop. It's the industry as a whole. All of the platforms that create AI content are trying to actively embed information within that file that allows every other platform to identify it as AI generated content. And then these systems, these platforms are analyzing it to try and make sure that they are serving us the highest quality original content that we would enjoy seeing. But the problem is that we're still in the early stages of the AI monitoring on these platforms like YouTube and Facebook. And so because AI slop is such a problem right now, they're going to lean towards more of the fact that AI generated content could be riskier than original raw recorded content. And so the bias would be towards demonetizing and flagging purely AI generated content, because that is what's coming out at such a scale that it's difficult to protect against. So if you're creating content where the majority of it is AI generated, whether that be an AI avatar or voiceovers, or it's purely visuals that were generated by AI, then the system is going to see that and you're at risk of your content being flagged, demonetized, taken down, any of the above. Now, before we get into what is the solution, I wanted to let you know that I understand that the discussions around branding could be confusing, so I actually built a brand launch guide that just gives you the first key areas to focus on, and you can get that in the description below. So what is the solution? So at the beginning of this video, I said that right now is actually a massive opportunity for those of us looking to build our authority. And that's because while there's so much focus towards cleaning up AI slop, those of us who put the extra foot forward and actually get on camera to record face-first content are going to separate ourselves from all of this AI slop. Our content is going to be safer for us to produce and less likely that we get mistakenly deemed as inauthentic content, and it will be a breath of fresh air for our audience who's tired of filtering through all this AI slop and actually gets to see you and hear your voice, your expertise as a real person. The funny thing is, some of the same technology that's being used to read files and identify that they were generated via AI can also be used to show that we're using a proper camera to record our content and that it's verifying that we are making real content and it's not AI generated. But then comes the question about what about AI avatars? They're getting better and better. They look more realistic. They sound more realistic. Their hand movements and tonality is getting better by the day. But I have a couple opinions on AI avatars. While they are really good and can provide a face when you don't want to be on camera, if you're introverted like me, and I understand I'm very introverted, getting on camera is a big hurdle for me. But the first problem with AI avatars is it's AI generated. So they're still going to have that information embedded into that file and be flagged as AI generated content. So that's the first problem with AI avatars, is it's still going to be flagged as AI generated content. But then there's the second piece to AI avatars where I don't know how I feel about them, because in my eyes, if you're looking to build your authority, build your brand, in which brand relates on connection between you and your audience and how they feel about you, do they trust you? AI avatars feels misleading, doesn't it? If you can't be bothered to get on camera, what does that say to your audience who is looking for someone to provide a solution? Or what if they haven't been able to tell the entire time that you've been using an AI avatar and then one day it glitches and it's caught, it's found out? Don't you think that your audience would feel misled, that it wasn't even you the whole time? But to be clear, I'm not against AI. I use AI every single day, and I think there's a right way to use it. First and foremost, again, we as people trying to build our authority, build our brand, need to show up. We need to put that effort in and show our audience that we're there to provide. And then we use AI to enhance that, to scale it. And what I mean is use AI to come up with new ideas, to speed up the editing of your videos, to enhance the visual supporting elements within your videos. AI is allowing so many creators to create content that they never could have before, or it would have cost so much money to be able to create those kinds of videos thanks to AI. So I'm not against it. I think it's fantastic, but it has to enhance. It needs to be an add-on to the foundation, which is human-led content, which is why the current crackdown on AI-generated content and repetitive content under this bundle of inauthentic content provides a massive opportunity for those of us willing to get in front of the camera and hit record. If you found this video helpful, then subscribe for more discussions around how to engineer your identity. And if you'd like to see how we can work together, then click on the link in the description.